Months of anticipation have built up to this very moment. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina is a popular tourist destination in the heart of the summer. However, the middle of the city's off-season will end our own off-season. Tonight, it's all about stock car racing in the city for 20 drivers. The 2025 DeWalt Cup Series kicks off for the very first time with a non-points event. This is the Budweiser Shootout from the Myrtle Beach Speedway on JRTV. Welcome everyone to the show. I'm Joe Rakowski and I'm joined alongside Me Motorsports team owner Trey Bardo and special guest for this week, the driver of the number 23 Mountain Dew Toyota for Galloway Automotive, Jack Haas. Trey, let's start with you. You're going to be a regular in the booth this season, and here tonight for the Budweiser Shootout, you have one of your drivers, Matthew Burnett, and the number 24 in the show. So this could be kind of a litmus test for your team to basically see how you're going to be performing at these types of tracks throughout the season.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those races where not only is the rest of the team going to be paying attention, but I'm going to be watching, and Burnett's going to be dishing out the information come the end of this thing, and we're going to see how it goes. But man, I'm just excited to be back up and calling one of these races, Joe.
And Jack, let's move on to you. You're unfortunately not in the event, but maybe it could play to your benefit. You're not going to know what your rating's going to be like for this race. However, you get to see basically half the field, 20 other drivers' ratings, and how they're going to be playing out. So, while other drivers are out there on the track and they're looking at their own stuff, you can be looking at all 20 and seeing who might be the biggest competition at the start of this season.
Exactly. You're exactly right, Joe. And first of all, before I say anything else, I want to say thank you for having me here. I've always wanted to be in the booth with you and Trey. This is quite exciting. But getting back to tonight's race, it's amazing, the excitement building up to this series. And also, yes, unfortunately not in the race, but having the opportunity to see what everybody else is doing, how they drive the track, what they can learn. I do have a teammate in the race, Zachary DeLello. So we'll get to see we'll learn some from him as well after moving forward into the season.
And good news tonight for all 14 teams is that they have at least one driver in this event. There are a few teams with two drivers, and then you have EKH Enterprises. Evan Hunter is going to learn everything about his cars and his drivers because he has all three drivers in this event tonight. But otherwise, other teams have two drivers, other teams have one driver in this event, so everyone will get to see their car on track if you're a team owner here tonight at the Myrtle Beach Speedway. And it's a great test in terms of short track racing. Short tracks are kind of important in this season, even though most of the schedule is made up of intermediate style racetracks. These short tracks can be important. Obviously this one, it's just non-points race. There's not really much behind it. But you move on to the All-Star race, which the winner of that locks in to the chase early. That's held at a short track. You have short tracks all throughout the mid-season tournament. There's a few short tracks in that. Then you have some short tracks in the chase as well. So Trey, what's that going to be like? Trying to balance out the ratings between track types. You have stuff like super speedways. You have road courses. You have the short tracks. You have the speedways. How's that going to be able to be balanced throughout this season?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be the key to success during this, right? I mean, you got to figure out what is most important track type that your guys are going to go to. So I think all the team owners are really going to have to maybe take a little bit, study what they want their drivers to be competitive at and what they're willing to give up pace on throughout the season here. And we'll have to I'll be curious, Joe. I've been keeping a little bit of track on that. I got a little spreadsheet going out.
Yeah, you're wanting to make sure everything goes smoothly, right?
As smooth as a team that I own can go, yeah.
Jack, how about you? You're a big spreadsheet guy. How's your ratings going? Are you keeping track of that in any way?
Oh, absolutely. I've got a not a spreadsheet going. I'm actually using the game itself. I've got one of the cars in the game set up to keep track of my ratings throughout the season. So just an easier way to visualize it. That's the strategy I've got going. As far as keeping or how to attack the season, it's an interesting one. There've been a few different series. Obviously, schedules are different, but overall the same thing. It's always a balance of where do you want to be better? Do you want to focus on the speedway type where we have more of them, or do you want to try to go for the wins at the different track types and really jump on those ratings? So it's a different way to attack for everybody for sure.
Yeah, it's fun, and we'll see how it all plays out throughout the 32 points races this season, then those 2 non-points races as mentioned, one tonight here at Myrtle Beach for the Budweiser Shootout, and then one just a little bit later on in the season for the All-Star race at South Boston. Well, as the Gatorade starting grid appears on the left side of the screen and we go through that, let's start with picks to win. Let's start with the guest, Jack Haas. How about you give us your pick to win here tonight at Myrtle Beach?
I want to be the team player and go with my teammate Zachary DeLello, but I got to look at Vision Motorsports, number 16, Max Davis, starting third in this race. It's a great starting spot. I feel like that team's going to be really strong this year. I know Max knows what he's doing with the ratings, so that's my pick.
Trey, how about you?
Well, I had one driver that I wanted to pick, but it got shut down as soon as I said it, so I had to pick another driver. I didn't know who I wanted to pick, so I picked a position. I randomly picked 7th, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't remember who qualified where, and I was told who it was, and of course, it's the man, the myth, the legend, the WWE superstar himself, Chris Jericho. And Joe, honestly, it being Chris Jericho, I'm not that upset with the random draw.
That seems like it worked out pretty well in your favor. I'll go just a little bit further back, also in the inside row, but outside the top 10. I'm taking Jordan Stout for Ace Motorsports in that number 66. I think he'll be able to work his way through the field, and we know Brett Sayre, the team owner, he wants nothing short of perfection with his cars this season, so I think that Jordan Stout's going to deliver perfection in the first ever DeWalt Cup Series race. We're going to get these guys rolling off for the pace lap around the Myrtle Beach Speedway, and we'll take a look at some of the cars as they roll off of the front stretch. How about, so unique to have cars on the front stretch to take off on their pace lap here.
Yeah, it's I'm used to them coming off your road, but you know what? It's not close to the fans, so the fans that are here at least, and I think it's exciting. But Joe, these teams are they're something, huh?
Yeah, look at this. It's a great field of 20 cars as they come down the backstretch. There they all are, and when we get to the 500, it's going to be the best-looking field of 42 cars you've ever seen. But tonight's the best-looking 20-car field you've ever seen. On the front row, Alex Samatale, Drew Pohl for the Budweiser Shootout with Cam Wright Jr. to their outside. Then you have Max Davis, Keegan Thompson, and Matthew Burnett, the front 5. Here we go. The Budweiser Shootout, the first ever DeWalt Cup Series race, is underway in 2025. Max Davis looking low as they come off 4, but Samatale gets the grip up high. He'll lead the first lap from pole position. Davis slots in line in second. Cameron Jr. trying to get down. Now Davis looks back low as they come off turn 2. Burnett and Jericho using the inside well as Samatale controls the lead right now out in front.
So the interesting thing is going to be is as we're looking pretty wide, I don't know how well this is going to work. We're keeping it pretty spread out so far right now. A little early to be going like this, but we're going to make it work. What I was going to say is I'll be curious to see how these lines develop throughout this race.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, especially when the tires wear. There's no pit stops here tonight. It's just a 50-lap, basically sprint race, if you can call it a sprint race. So we'll have to see if these tires wear out towards the end. Who has saved their stuff? As for the lead, Trey, here comes your driver, Matthew Burnett, to the inside through turns 1 and 2. And Burnett uses that inside lane well. He takes the lead away from Samatale on lap number 4. And here comes Chris Jericho trying to get inside of Samatale. Maybe some contact. Up the track goes the 09, and for the lead, here comes Chris Jericho.
Obviously not adopting the same strategy Kyle Larson had in the Clash the other night of annoying all the other drivers before the regular season started as he moves Samatale. Oh, we got 3 wide. Keegan Thompson putting it to the inside of Davis and Samatale. What a move. It worked out. Jeez, they're bullying that 09 right now. I don't know what's going on.
Can you guys tell it's a non-points race? Like, these guys are going crazy.
Very, very slightly, but I mean, this is interesting. I'm surprised there hasn't been actual contact happen yet. I think we've had a couple of close calls, but no wraps have been. I think it's wraps though. I don't know if they use paint back then or not. But anyways, I don't think anything's been swapped yet.
No, I think so far they've somehow kept their bumpers off of each other and their sides off of each other. The question is, will that stay throughout the whole 50 laps? I don't know. Max Davis coming back up to the front. again by Keegan Thompson for third. Here comes Mathis Wells. He starts just outside the top 10 and 11th. He's moving up nicely in that 39 car. Riley Spurley is coming up from his outside starting position. Then you have 45 of Drew Webb working up. There's the two drivers that started on the front row. Cam Wright Jr. getting by Alex Samatali. And how about this, Trey? This driver was so disappointed in the Budweiser Shootout selection show. Roberto Crown Jr. picked last, 20th place. But on lap number 9, he's already up to 9th and looking for some more as they come off turn number 2. Jack, Crown Jr. is flying from the back of the field.
I know we made the joke of 20th car picking 20th, right? That was a haha jab jab, but he's not racing like a 20th place car. I know you don't know much about making it through the field, but what do you got to think about it so far?
Jack, here comes Keegan Thompson going for third on Max Davis. So Thompson hanging around the front, getting to the inside as the front two are trying to build a gap. Jericho and Burnett are trying to get away from the rest of the field.
You know, I shouldn't be surprised seeing the group that's starting to pull away at the front of the field. I'm relatively new to the channel. I've only seen the SCS from your series, Joe, but looking at this top 4 right now, we've got Chris Jericho, Matthew Burnett, Keegan Thompson, and Mathis Wells. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised by that in an not equal rating series, but it's essentially equal to start off the season. Just funny how that works out. As we see, Thompson's made the pass for second and looking for the lead. Not quite there yet, but he's got the line. I think he's going to be able to move the 54 up. Even if he doesn't have to, he's got the right line.
That's two teammates right there. Julie Toussaint, the team owner for Toussaint Racing, has got to be pretty pleased right now as his cars run 1-2. Keegan Thompson takes the line away from Jericho, really slides wide, nearly got the outside fence. Here's two Simulation Cup Series former teammates going at it. Wells to the inside of Jericho's. Keegan Thompson takes the lead away on lap number 14. Wells is going to move up for second on Jericho. Max Davis still hanging around the front and knocking on the top 5. Here comes Roberto Crown Jr. That M&M's car is flying, and he's going to be inside the top 5 now, Trey.
This is racing like a short track. I mean, you get stuck on that outside, Joe. You're just falling back until you can find a gap, but it is hard. This 54 and 24 are just dropping like. They should be able to start it right here. Well, my guy did.
Matthew Burnett filled the hole down low. He said, Chris Jericho, you can stay up high a little bit longer right here. Here comes Crown Jr., third place on Max Davis. Now going for second on Mathis Wells. The driver who started last in this race is up to second place. Not even halfway into the running of the Budweiser Shootout. Wells goes wide. Davis shoots middle of 3. Burnett goes low in the 24. Riley Spurley is clear of the mess behind. Here comes Drew Webb making moves on Spurley and Jericho. The 54 had his turn up front. He's dropping to the back as Cam Wright Jr. moves inside. Martinelli has moved up nicely just inside the top 10. And then just outside the top 10, you have Justin Seidel, Laura Chung, Gabe Willard. They have Robert Ashford in the 58. There's Zachary DeLedler, your teammate Jack. Alex Samatali from pole all the way back in 16th, and Johnny Cox, Jordan Stout, Angel Gutierrez, and off pace, Chris Keselowski in the 57. There might be some issues on that car.
It's almost funny to see how the field's spread out. It seems as though the first half or so is we've got a cycle race going on, and then the second half of the field we've got the single file train racing, which is quite hilarious to see. Looks as though a few cars joining into that cycle. However, the top 2 have completely run away with it. That I can't get enough of that 20 car. We can't talk enough about it. Crown Jr., what a performance he's put on so far. We're only 19 laps into this race, currently working on lap 20, and he is tracking down that 6 car. He's going to be making moves here in the next couple laps, I would say. I'd be curious to see if he can pull away from the 6 even.
I think he has the fastest car on the racetrack at the moment. So as you mentioned, if he gets to the lead, who knows if he might be able to pull away. So here he goes, looking low on Keegan Thompson through turns 1 and 2, and he just has great grip. A lot of people have been struggling off the bottom of turn 2. Crown Jr. is not. He got to the inside, he got the position, he got the spot. Crown Jr. leads the Budweiser Shootout, not even halfway through, 20th to 1st, 19 spots gained. He basically gained a spot a lap here tonight. What a run for that number 20 car. EKH Enterprises actually smiling right now. Evan Hunter does, because all 3 of his guys are inside the top 10.
Yeah, this is the showing right now. I mean, first off, these 2 cars right now that are up front are absolutely dominating, and that just goes to show you that it really is a strategy of what ratings you want to pick. Because you think about it, right? We mentioned it earlier. It picks in the 54, their teammates. The 54 was up front for a good portion of the start of this race, but he's fallen off. I mean, he's outside the top 10 right now, and his teammates still battling for the lead. So that just goes to show you that you got to be really cautious with what you pick.
Here they go back for the lead. Keegan Thompson said, all right, Crown, you got to lead a lap or two. I've had enough of that. Here he goes back to the inside, and the 6 is going to try and take it back away from the 20 of Crown Jr. The 20 slides wide, and Keegan Thompson is back through to the lead and builds a little bit of a gap over Crown Jr. They were looking 3 wide behind. Spurtip gets clear in 3rd. Wells in 4th. Cam Wright Jr. back up to 5th. Jude Martinelli's moving up nicely. Up to 6th in that number 94 car for Foss Autosport, owned by Octavian Speedings. And you have Max Davis, Drew Webb, there's Zidell, the other of the EKH Enterprises cars, and Chris Jericho trying to move back up through the field just past Laura Chung from Otter Island Motorsports for 10th place right there.
I have to make a comment about Martinelli there. The last time I spoke, he was in like 13th place, something along those lines, and then before I was done talking, he was poking his head into the top 5, still there. So, what? Yeah, sorry, he is back ahead of the 33. He's still there. Wish he could have done a little bit more of that in his SCS days. That's not a shot. I'm sorry. Anyway, new series. We're going to ignore that. It's a good run. I can't say enough about this EKH Enterprises team. As it's been mentioned a couple times now, the only team to have all 3 drivers in the shootout tonight. But as we look now, they are currently sitting 2nd, 3rd, and 8th. Like, they're all 3 climbing their way to the front. It's unreal what they're able to do.
I would watch this 94 car as we get laps into this run. I know we're approaching 20 laps to go, but I think Jude Martinelli has a little bit of a faster car than the guys in front. You can see right there, Riley Spurgeon's trying to higher lane in that number 28 up front, trying to see if he can run down the front 2 in doing that as the front 2 are coming back together. Crown Jr. lost some time to Keegan Thompson. He puts the gap back down, and now he's all over the back bumper of that number 6 car, looking for the lead with 21 laps to go in the Budweiser Shootout. Spurgeon rides in 3rd, Martinelli in 4th. Battle for 5th is Cam Wright Jr. and Mathis Wells. Here comes Crown back for the lead. Thompson washes up the track, and once again another lead change, this time Crown Jr. back out in front. 20 laps to go in the Budweiser Shootout. Trades all happening between these 2 at the front, but can someone close in if they keep battling?
You definitely have to think what's going to happen, right? The weird thing that I've noticed so far is that I feel like these guys want to run, these cars want to run the middle, but as soon as you get side by side with someone and you're forced to run middle, too wide, that car on top just pushes all the way out to the wall. It's strange, but I mean, if it helps to make the pass, you might as well do it.
It seems like they just don't have any grip out here. It's like they're all sliding around, and it's hard to control, but it's making for some great stuff. See right here, this is the battle for about 10th place. DeLello had it. Jericho takes it away. As the battle for this 7th place, Drew Webb and Justin Zidell are going at it, as they're going to trade their position for 3rd. Martinelli's getting by Riley Spurgeon, and he still has 17 laps to go at the line. So Jude Martinelli, Jack, is he setting himself up for a late race rundown of the front 2 positions?
Oh, he is 100%. As the 2 of them raced, the 94 and the 28, they were actually gaining a little bit on the leaders, it seemed, lap by lap. If the 94 Martinelli continues to be as fast as he was, and as he's getting put to the outside by Spurley for a pass back for 3rd place, negating everything I've said, but I mean, like I said, they lost time on that lap, obviously going side by side. The leaders have been able to stay single file for a few laps, as Martinelli didn't quite catch the wall, but he couldn't have got much closer to it. This is going to be a problem, though. Now he's getting looked at to the inside for 4th place. That's, sitting with 17 laps to go. I don't know, or 16 laps to go, sorry. That is definitely not going to help.
Whoa! Mathis Wells nearly gets into Jude Martinelli. Luckily, got out of the gas and didn't do so, but that could have been big right there for the driver of the 94 and the 39. Could have been some contact. Could have been our first yellow flag of the race. It's been caution-free so far, and we're hoping to end it like that. Get all the way to the end of this race. As Martinelli, I have to wonder if he maybe drove too hard too soon and wore his tires out, and he doesn't have anything for the final 13 laps. Speaking of wearing tires out, has Crown Jr. saved enough, because he's starting to pull away from Keegan Thompson? Trade did the 6 wear his tires out too early?
Yeah, there was a couple. I mean, look at him. He's going extremely high up those, banking there to either try to find any sort of speed, or he just doesn't have the grip to really hold it at the bottom. You see the 20s running a higher line in 1 and 2 as well. So we'll have to see what is going to develop there. As we're going back here as a race for P8, I believe. Nope, P7. I lied. I can't tell where we're at.
Yep, P7. Chris Jericho getting by Justin Zaidel. So Jericho led the race at one stage in this race early on. Dropped back, couldn't find the inside. He fell outside the top 10, trying a recovery mission right here up to 7th as his teammate Keegan Thompson rides in 2nd place. Martinelli trying to get some spots back, looking on Cam Wright Jr. Cam Wright Jr. out of the Fitzwater Australia Racing team, and that number 33, the only Dodge team in this series, and so far shown up well. He started 2nd, he's running 4th, so he's had a very, very solid race car, been able to keep that car inside the top 5 all race long. Still battling back there for 7th place. Zaidel doesn't want to let Jericho get that spot. They go side by side. Drew Webb right there joins the battle to make it a 3-way race, but at the front, it is still Crown Jr. leading Keegan Thompson 0.8 of a second with 9 laps to go.
Yeah, Roberto Crown Jr. really starting to stretch that lead out. That's at this point of the race, you would have to wonder, as you mentioned, if Thompson might have burned up the tires a little too much, taking 3 and 4 a little bit wider than what he probably would like to, probably because he can't help it, I would have to expect. One thing that I am slightly concerned about, I wouldn't think this would be an issue in a green flag run at a track like this. Do we have any chance of catching that 57? We mentioned him being off pace a little bit. I would hate to see. No, he looks to be quite a ways ahead. I don't think that's going to play a factor. You'd hate to see something like that interfere with the ending of this race, as Burley Tubes actually caught Thompson for 2nd place. We have an opportunity to see an EKH Enterprises 1-2 to start off the season here. And it looks like he's going to get him.
How about that? I mean, he was about 1.4 seconds back of his teammate Crown Jr. a few laps ago. He's cut that down to just a second now, and he's bound with Keegan Thompson. So let's see what the gap does. If it stays the same this lap, that's very good for him because he was passing another driver, Keegan Thompson, right there. As Martinelli passes Cam Wright Jr. back for 4th, those two have traded that position the last 3 or so laps. Spurgeon actually gained that lap. So with 5 laps to go, Trey, it's a second gap. Can he run down his teammate Crown Jr. for the race victory?
I think we've seen bigger gaps closed in smaller amounts of times before. I never say never, but it's 20. I mean, the first challenge, Joe, is in progress right now, and if I'm Roberto Crown Jr., I don't want to lose that opportunity to do something like that in the season. I'll watch to see what happens. Like, these guys are still battling extremely hard. Martinelli's going to go up the track again. Almost. Joe, I don't like that 39 and 94 next to each other.
Why not?
Too many times they've just been too close to each other.
Well, this is one heck of a battle for 4th place. I mean, this could go all the way to the wire between these 3 drivers, Cam Wright Jr., Jude Martinelli, and Mathis Wells. As they come around to 2 laps to go, the gap at the front stabilizing, just about a second between EKH Enterprises teammates, Roberto Crown Jr. and Riley Spurleytube. 2 laps to go, just over a mile remains for Crown Jr., as Trey mentioned, to go from last to 1st in the Budweiser Shootout to kick out the 2025 DeWalt Cup Series season. Here comes Crown Jr. There's the white flag. Surrender on the rest of the field. Crown Jr. is a second over his nearest competition, which is his teammate Riley Spurleytube. Off turn 2 for the final time. Down the back straightaway. He was so disappointed after picking 20th as his starting spot, but here tonight he makes up for it and he wins the Budweiser Shootout at Myrtle Beach. Great battle. Look at that side-by-side for about 13th or so. I think that was your driver, Trey, along with Laura Chung. It was. They were side-by-side. We'll have to see who got that spot. But what a day it was for EKH Enterprises, and especially Roberto Crown Jr. The M&M's number 20 Ford is in victory lane. Evan Hunter is going to be absolutely thrilled with what his team did here tonight.
That was a statement performance if I've ever seen one. Absolute, just rock bottom, or it felt like rock bottom to Crown in our selection show the other night, last week I should say, but that doesn't matter. What matters is he was able to take that car from 20th place on the grid and take it to the front, and in essentially no time at all. He was leading this race before halfway, before pulling out to a 1 second lead and victory. So that's a team to be feared heading into this season. That was an incredible drive.
Yes, it was. And Trey, how about just, the the team kind of how everything worked out. You have three AKH Enterprises cars up inside the top 8. Then you have Tuki Toussaint's team with Toussaint Racing. They had 2 cars inside the top 10. Foss Autosport had a car inside the top 5. The Australia racing team for Fitzwater inside the top 5. So there were some teams that showed some promise. Other teams like OSC Racing needs to find something. Ace Motorsports, Red Lightning Racing, even the 09. I know his teammate Mathis Wells performed well, finished inside the top 10, nearly a top 5, but the 09 dropped down. Those two are teammates, so you have to wonder, there has to be some driver kind of discrepancies then.
Yeah, I definitely think, going into the first race of the regular season that these guys are going to be talking it out and figuring out what they need to do to be a little bit more competitive going into it if they struggled here. But as for those ones that were extremely competitive and absolutely showed up today, I don't think they got much to worry about. I think they just got to build on what they have.
I think so. As we'll take a look at the finishing results, Roberto Crown Jr., as mentioned, with the race victory from last to first in the first ever DeWalt Cup Series race. Granted, it is a non-points race, no points award, but just a lot of pride and a lot of joy for the EKH Enterprises team, because Riley Spurley ends up in second here tonight, just behind his teammate. Then Keegan Thompson for Tuki Toussaint's team ends up in third, spent most of his race up inside the top 5, top 3 positions. Jude Martinelli with the top 5 in 4th place, and Cam Wright Jr. completes the top 5. Mathis Wells, Drew Webb, Justin Zadell, the other of the EKH Enterprises cars, then Chris Jericho and Johnny Cox complete the top 10. Then you have Zachary DeLello and Matthew Burnett. So two drivers that are related to the people in the booth team-wise. DeLello, Jack Haas's teammate, Matthew Burnett, the driver for Trey Bardo, end up right next to each other. And for Burnett, his battle over Laura Chung, it went down to 7/1000ths of a second between the two. That is very close. Burnett did edge Laura Chung. They have Gabe Willard. Max Davis started well. He dropped back. So did Alex Sanvitale. Then you have Robert Ashford, Jordan Stout, Angel Gutierrez right where he started, and then Chris Keselowski off pace in the 57. Ends up last place in the 20th position. So we'll go to Jack first. Final thoughts on this race and what you're seeing at the start of the season and what you might think heading into Daytona now.
Well, I think one of the biggest things that was confirmed for me tonight was the expected great performance out of the gate from EKH. I expect them to be a team that's going to be one to fight with all year. And I think this pretty much confirmed that if they can keep on top of the ratings throughout the year, that's they're going to be ones to watch out for. Learned a lot from this race. Not a lot that's going to translate to Daytona necessarily, but as the season goes on, once we get to other similar track types like this, just excited to get going. Like I said, I wish I could have been out there tonight, but absolutely ready to get this thing started here in a couple weeks.
Now we have the lay of the land of all 14 teams. At least one car from each team competed here tonight. Your driver Burnett around mid-pack. Is that worrying to you at the moment, or is that just something to work out? Every team is going to say, all right, we know where we're at now. We know what we need to focus on, and we can try and work that out with our drivers.
It's never a fun thing as a team owner to watch your driver go down the list instead of up the list, right? But it is first pre-race of the season, right? So you got to take it with a grain of salt, of course, but it's definitely something that me, as long as the other team owners who watch their driver fall down the list, are going to take it into consideration. And honestly, I think the big thing that we're all going to take away from this is that the long runs are going to be something that are either going to make or break how your driver and their cars do throughout the race.
Well, what a race it was to kick off the 2025 DeWalt Cup Series season. I have to thank Jack Haas for joining us in the booth. Driver the number 23 for Galway Automotive. We'll be seeing him in every other race this season. We'll have to see how Jack can perform. We'll have to see how Me Motorsports can perform. Trey will be in the booth with me for a majority, if not all, of the races this season. So look forward to having him and see what happens throughout this season. A lot to unfold throughout. We have bunch of points races. We have the All-Star race. We have the mid-season tournament, and then the final 8 chase races. It's going to be an exciting season throughout 2025, and we can't wait to kick off the points season at Daytona for the Daytona 500, the first ever DeWalt Cup Series points race. So we'll see how that goes next time out on JRTV next week. Tonight's all about Roberto Crown Jr. and EKH Enterprises. They celebrate in victory lane. Congratulations to Roberto and Evan Hunter, the team owner, on victory here tonight. For Jack Haas and Trey Bardo, I'm Joe Rakowski. So long from the Myrtle Beach Speedway, but tune in next week on JRTV for the Daytona 500 on Monday.